Ooh, what's going on, guys? It's Horse Beef here, and I'm bringing you another tier list video. Crazy! It's like my fifth one in a row. It's almost like there's no other content to make in the MMA space. But I will figure it. I'll make another type of video coming up pretty soon. Don't you guys worry. But this one we're covering the UFC fighters' signature moves tier list. So I went and handpicked some of the most iconic signature moves in MMA, and I am going to rank them accordingly. So let's get into it. The first one, Darren Till's left hand. You could even call it flappy hands, followed by a left hand. I mean, it's really all he has at the end of the day, right? And has it been effective enough to make him a champ? No, it has not. In fact, he never actually fulfilled his potential with the flappy hand followed by left hand. I'm gonna put it in C tier because he did get a couple of guys with it at the lower levels while he was coming up. So yeah, C tier for Darren Till's flaps. Robert Whittaker's 1-2 head kick. I love this shit. I feel like he lands on it every single opponent that he fights. This almost deserves to be an S tier. He has got knockouts with it. Hurt Brunson, that led to the finish. Hurt Jacare, which led to the finish. And he just lands it on everybody, right? Hurt Cannonier bad with it. It has to be S tier. Surely it has to be S tier. It's a crazy, crazy combination. Yeah, I feel like this one doesn't require much explanation. Alex Pereira's left hook. I mean, if there was a tier above S, I feel like that's where it would be. But for the sake of this tier list, Alex Pereira's left hook has to go in S tier. DC eye pokes. I know you're gonna say, the DC fans out there, his high crotch or his dirty boxing or his uppercuts in the clinch or whatever. It's the eye pokes. And the thing with DC eye pokes is that he was out eye poked by Stipe in the third fight. So what kind of whack ass eye poke game you got if you're getting out eye poked, your signature move, by another man? It's crazy. So it's got to be in D tier for DC's eye pokes. Kamaru Usman's jab. I mean, he put Gilbert Burns down with it, and he noticeably affects like all of his opponents when he lands the jab on them. It was the case with Chimaev. It was the case with Colby. It was definitely the case with Masvidal as well, and especially Gilbert Burns. Every time he lands it, there is a noticeable effect he has on his opponents. He has one of the best jabs of all time in the sport. So to give credit to Kamaru Usman, I'm going to put it in A tier. I think his jab is excellent. Ryan Hall Imanari roll. I mean, it's led to one win for him in the UFC, I guess, against BJ Penn. Washed BJ Penn though. I think he tore his knee up a little bit too, which I'm not a huge fan of. But otherwise, it's just him replicating Dark Souls and rolling around on the ground and really achieving nothing with it because most fighters don't want to engage with him on the ground in the first place. I'm gonna put that in D tier. I don't really like his Imanari roll. I gotta say, I'm not really a big fan. Justin Gaethje's uppercut. Of course, there are a few different options there. You could choose the Rolling Thunder. You could choose the leg kicks. But when I think about Gaethje, the most effective shot in his arsenal is uppercuts. He has a disgusting uppercut. Hurt Michael Johnson in their fight with one, and of course you guys know hurt Michael Chandler with it. And it's not just his uppercuts outside the clinch, but his uppercuts inside the clinch too, man. The dirty boxing uppercuts, those collar tie uppercuts, are nasty. So that anything uppercut from Justin Gaethje is thrown with venom. I like it. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Corey Sandhagen's flying knees knocked out Frankie Edgar, so I gotta dock some points for that, man. You don't knock out Frankie Edgar like that. It's not very nice. But he lands it on everybody he fights. Remember that flying knee into like the inverted triangle against TJ Dillashaw as well. I love the way he throws a flying knee. I would say maybe around the same place. B tier for Corey Sandhagen. Jose Aldo's body shots. And once again, we're gonna get people, it's his leg kicks. At one point it was. But I think as Jose Aldo's career went on, he started to avoid those, or sort of not necessarily avoid the leg kicks, but he wasn't leaning on the leg kicks as much, and his hands became so good, and he started finding that left hook to the body. And it's a beautiful shot for him, especially during his bantamweight run. He's been very boxing heavy and landing that left hook on everyone he fights. Yeah, I think it's a great punch and finished Jeremy Stevens with it as well. That's really where we started to learn, oh shit, this man, Jose Aldo, can dig a left hook to the body like the best of them. So I'm going to put that I'm gonna put that in B tier as well. He's got to finish with it, and it's just a nasty shot. It's my favorite shot to throw myself, the left hook to the body. So I have to juice him up a little bit in this tier list. Max Holloway's pointing to the ground. It's just so cool, isn't it? It's just so cool. And now he's knocked a person out. He's knocked Justin Gaethje of all people out while doing that. So it might have to propel it up here somewhere. Maybe A tier. Maybe A tier because it's just so simple. Right? He just points down. And of course it could be his spinning back kick or even his right hand to the body. He throws that very well. He pretty much lands it on everybody he fights. But I am picking it the point to the ground. I'm going to put that in A tier, just to be fair. And then we get into Vanderlei Silva's windmill punches. You could also say it's his knees in the clinch that are his signature moves, but I love the Vanderlei Silva windmill hooks. Just get out of the blast radius when a man like Vanderlei Silva is throwing windmill punches at you like that. This Brian Stann fight was such a good example of him just slinging punches. Absolutely no tactics, just slinging punches. I love his punches, man. I love his windmill punches. I'm fighting the urge to put him in B tier, but arguably it's C because it's a sloppy technique, but it's exclusive to Vanderlei and John Lineker and Jessica Andrade as well. They kind of took everything Vanderlei Silva was working for. Maybe it's just like a short, stocky Brazilian thing where you just throw weird looking punches. But I'm gonna put it in B tier because it is pretty iconic, honestly. Ronda Rousey's armbar. Listen, when you really think about it, it's kind of an S tier thing because it's all she had, right? It's just like Darren Till's left hand. It's literally all she had and all she could finish anyone with. I know she finished somebody on the feet too, or maybe one or two fighters, but they were barely fighters, man. They look like they never stepped in the cage in their lives. But I don't like Ronda Rousey, and I don't think neither do any of us. So maybe we can underrate her armbar and get away with it here. So to be completely fair, I'm going to put it in C tier. I can't put it in D as much as I want to. I want to give her a bit of credit in case there's one woman. I looked at my analytics the other day. Apparently, 1% of my audience is female. So for that 1%, boom, representation. Ronda Rousey in C tier. Dominic Cruz, it's his movement or his like switch looping cross. I like his movement. Later on in his career, it kind of started to get him hurt a few times. Got him hurt against Cody Garbrandt. Got him hurt against Chito Vera. Got him hurt against Pedro Munoz even. I like it. It is pretty cool, his footwork and movement. It's signature to him. No one has really replicated it. TJ Dillashaw kind of did a version of that, but it just wasn't the same. I'm going to put it in B tier. Volkanovski. I was thinking, what's the signature move of Volkanovski? And it is the inside leg kick, right? The lead inside leg kick. The way that he'll throw the jab and disguise it, then instantly throw the inside leg kick. It's a technique that I've personally implemented in my own life when I've sparred. I've implemented it. I think it's a great technique. It's a great little combination. And Volk lands it at will, but it doesn't really have much stopping power, right? So at the end of the day, it really shouldn't be that high. I'm gonna put Volk's inside leg kick in D tier. Like not that it's not an impressive technique, not that he doesn't throw it with technical perfection, right? Because obviously he's Volkanovski, but there's just no stopping power behind it. So and like it doesn't have the cool factor like Max Holloway pointing to the ground does. So D tier. Ben Askren spinning back fist. It doesn't really require much explanation, I feel. As you see in that picture, the devastating power of that spinning back fist. Just get out of the way. You know what I mean? And Damian Maia just narrowly escaped with his life in their fight. It's got to be an S tier, right? I mean, what does he have, like 5 or 6 knockouts in his MMA career with spinning back fist? So, yeah, S tier for Ben Askren's spinning back fist. And then we get the Giga kick. It's named after him, right? And it's unique, right? He throws it, lands the roundhouse with the ball of the foot, right? He scored a knockout, I believe, with a head kick with the Giga kick and also to the body. I'm not really a big fan of Chikadze, but I do have to be fair to him, right? So I'm going to put him in B tier. For that one. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's sidekick literally lands it against everybody, puts people on their ass with it. It's a beautiful technique, the timing of it. He's also one of the only guys in the UFC who really throws that technique, at least in that volume. Absolute mastery of it. I think because the mastery of it and the fact that it's so unique to him, I'm gonna put him in A tier. Then we get Alexei Oleinik's Ezekiel choke. I love this. I love this signature move personally. I think this is up there. He just looks like an old Russian man, and then he gives you an aggressive bear hug and finishes you, whether you're standing, whether you're on top of him. It doesn't matter. Any position, he's able to just give you an aggressive hug and put you to sleep. And I love that fact. So I'm going to put it in S tier. Alexei Oleinik's Ezekiel choke is S tier. Bilal Muhammad decisions, man, many fighters throughout his career have fallen victim to a brutal Bilal Muhammad decision, and you would think he's on his way to a title shot too because of that signature move. So I'm going to put it in A tier. Bilal Muhammad decisions are lethal, baby. Khabib Nurmagomedov, it could be like a low single, but I'm picking that move that I don't know the name of, where he traps the legs in between his legs, whatever the hell that is. Obviously hyper effective, clearly, right? So I don't know. It also led to really boring moments in fights. So I'm putting it in C tier. I didn't like it, honestly. I wasn't a big fan of how he would just spam that shit out. And also he was just so big and so strong that his opponents weren't able to move. But no, it was effective though. Fuck. But yeah, it was effective. Okay, B tier, fine. Then we get into the Von Flue choke from Ovince St. Preux. It is special to him. He did finish a lot of low-level fighters with it. It never really worked for him at the high levels. I don't know how so many opponents, like after the first two, surely you clue in and realize, hey, maybe I should not go for a guillotine unless it's absolutely secured. Maybe I shouldn't go for like a half-ass guillotine against Ovince St. Preux, but they wouldn't listen. I don't know. I'll put it in C tier, similar to Ronda Rousey in a way. Edson Barbosa's, I guess this is just his spinning attacks, right? Spinning wheel kicks to the head and spinning back kicks to the body. It doesn't matter. I'm putting in S tier. He's one of my personal favorite fighters of all time. For sure, one of the best strikers to ever step foot in the octagon. And he's seriously hurt guys really bad with this spinning back kicks to the body. I don't think he's actually got finishes with it. Technically, his fight against Dan Hooker did kind of end because of the spinning back kicks to the body. He kept landing them over and over again, and that's where the bulk of the damage was coming from. You could also argue that Edson Barbosa's signature move is the switch kick to the body, but the spinning attacks are just so beautiful, and he also pulled off one of the craziest knockouts in UFC history against Terry Edom with that wheel kick there, as you see in the picture. So S tier, I think it deserves to be there. The Dustin Poirier guillotine, man, he'll keep throwing it. He'll keep going for it. And after he finishes Islam Makhachev with the guillotine, I'll put him in S tier. But for now, just since he hasn't secured any victories with the gilly, but for comedic value, I'm putting him in C tier. Conor McGregor's left hand, I'll put it in S tier. I mean, goes without saying, right? Absolutely mollywopped Jose Aldo in 13, 14 seconds. As like pretty much all of his knockouts, aside from like the Donald Cerrone one, I can think of at least, was down to a left hand. Like Darren Till's left hand is pretty much the retarded stepbrother or distant cousin of Conor McGregor's left hand. So yeah, Conor McGregor's left hand, of course, has to be in S tier. Peter Yan's trips and throws. Now, you guys know, of course, I was going to include a Peter Yan signature move in here, and it was going to either be the high guard. It could have even been the 1-2 switch and then into the 2. But I went for his trips and throws because I believe he does it better than a lot of fighters in the UFC, which is crazy considering that he is one of the best strikers in the UFC, and he's also so adept with judo, right, within the clinch. Also, his clinch elbows are pretty nasty too, Peter Yan's. But yeah, I went with the throws. He doesn't really do a lot with it when he throws people. Like I say all the time, I'm very objective and I'm very non-biased. And the fact that Peter Yan's my favorite fighter, and I'm not even gonna rank him that highly here. I'm gonna put his trips and throws because they're technically beautiful. I'm gonna put it in B tier. John Jones eye pokes. Now, you know what? DC's got to run for his money here. I put DC all the way down here with the eye pokes. obviously he didn't learn enough from John Jones, because the way John Jones would hide those eye pokes, blind his opponents, it was a thing of beauty. It really was. In his heyday, just snatching eyeballs from all his opponents. Absolutely beautiful. And of course, haters are going to say, oh, it's his elbows or it's his spinning elbows. No, it's the eye pokes. When you really get down to it, those penetrating eye pokes of John Jones were so unavoidable. As that long reach, the way that he would extend those fingers out there illegally was so beautiful. So I'm going to put it in A tier. Wonderful technique from John Jones. Nico Price up kicks. Just Nico Price off his back. Nico Price off his back attacks. You think he knocked out a guy with punches while off his back and knocked out, James Vick. Obviously, he could have hit him with anything in that position, and James Vick would have went out cold. It's a pretty sick signature, honestly, to have. It really is. Nico Price, yeah, he's not the greatest, but as far as a signature move goes, being known for knocking out your opponents off your back is pretty cool. So I'm going to put that in A tier. Tito Ortiz, English language. He's so adept with the English language that he's seemingly created his own dialect. So think about that. He's created his own way of speaking. That's impressive. Tony Ferguson elbows. The purpose of an elbow really is to cause damage and it cause visible damage and open up cuts. And Tony Ferguson, in his heyday, was known for slicing dudes up and ultimately making his opponents look like they went through a wood chipper or they were in like a 6-car pileup by the end of those fights. So Tony Ferguson's elbows, I'm going to put those in A tier. The Showtime kick, he really did it one time, but it was so cool. But he only did it one time, right? Never knocked a man out with it. Never landed it again, really. I guess you could technically consider his knockout of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson something like that, right? Because he pushed off the cage. So I guess it's just cage attacks from Anthony Pettis. Style points, I'll put it in A tier. Mirko Krokop's left kick. Yeah, if you guys have seen it, you understand. He has knocked out countless opponents with the left high kick. It was universally known that if he lands that left high kick on you, even partially, you are going to the canvas. Mark Hunt was the only man I've ever seen eat that thing full force. So yeah, left head kick cemetery. They would say that for a reason. Man, devastating left head kick on him. Luke Rockhold. I was trying to think whether it should be the left roundhouse or the question mark kick, because I know the lead question mark kicks. I know he throws that very well, but I haven't seen him really throw it so effectively in fights. But we'll stick with the question mark kick or even the left roundhouse of the body, because he has knocked people out with that. So left roundhouse also, no, question mark kick, because it's a unique technique that he throws very well. But he never knocked out many people with it. So I think it should go a little bit low down in here. GSP, there are a few that you could pick out for GSP. For this particular list, I think I went with the Superman punch or even the Superman jab. But a lot of people would say it's his blast double. He would set up the blast double with the jab, so maybe they could be coupled in here together. Man, it was very effective, wasn't it? I'll put it in B tier. It was a pretty cool signature move. Brian T. City. The triangle choke. Arguably, it's his guillotine. I feel like he's finished more fights with the guillotine than he has with the triangle choke. But his nickname is T. City for a reason. I think he's scored maybe one triangle in the UFC, right? One triangle victory in the UFC, maybe. I think so. I'll put that one in C tier. The Stockton slap. You could even couple in the 2 in there as well. So the slap 2, right? A combo that's completely unique to Nate Diaz. I love it personally. I'm putting it in S tier. He cracked Leon Edwards because of the slap 2. He cracked Conor McGregor because of the slap 2 as well. So elite fighters. So even though Nate Diaz himself isn't elite, that slap 2 was enough to hurt elite fighters and put them on the verge of being finished. So absolutely, the Stockton slap followed by the left hand is immortalized. The crane kick from Lyoto Machida. Ooh. I got to say, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, man. That is a tough one. I kind of want to put this one in A tier. He knocked out Couture with it. He knocked out Belfort with it. If you have more than one knockout with a similar technique, especially one that's kind of unique to you, you deserve to be up on that list. So I'm going to put him in A tier. The Dan Henderson H-bomb. I mean, how many guys did he hurt with that shot, right? And the way he put out Michael Bisping with that thing. Oh, my God. No one threw a meteor-looking overhand than Dan Henderson. The H-bomb goes in S tier. Randy Couture's dirty boxing. If you've never seen his dirty boxing, it was very effective in its time. Yeah, I'll put this in B tier. Anderson Silva, hands down, Matrix mode. Listen, it was cool, but it would either lead to him getting knocked out or him getting a cool knockout. And he kind of got out of hand with it as his career went on. And it just led to him fucking around and looking lazy and not really pushing the action at times and just waiting too long. Made him look stupid a few times too, where he would play dumb and then get hurt because of it. So I think because of that, yeah, early in the career, obviously it would be up here. But as the career went on and he kept trying to replicate that early success, I'm going to put it in D tier. Uriah Faber's guillotine. I mean, of course, the Team Alpha Male signature is the guillotine. He's finished, I think, like 5 or 6 opponents throughout his career with the guillotine, which is pretty cool. At the high level, or within the UFC, not exactly, but in WEC, absolutely, they get Dominic Cruz with that as well. Yeah, I'm going to put that in B tier. And then we get Charles Oliveira dropping to his back when he gets hurt and sort of weaponizing being dropped. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it, honestly. I feel like if anyone else who wasn't Charles Oliveira did that exact same thing, fans would start booing, right? It got him finished against Islam Makhachev. It never actually leads to much happening for him. It just kind of gets him out of jail free. I'm going to put it in D tier. I'm honestly not a huge fan of when Charles Oliveira does that, in all honesty. But that is also the complete tier list. Everyone, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this tier list and any other ideas for tier lists that you'd like to see me cover in the future, and what you think about my placement for each individual signature move on this list. If you are disgruntled, remember, as always, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be seeing you guys pretty soon, and have a good one.